Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Nice Cyrus. This video started. So, today I want to talk about Diablo. First of all, I kind of want to make a video talking about stuff, right? This is kind of content I've been wanting to do. Not kind of sure if I want to go through making it on the channel because, you know, it's like, it's going to do one. It's like, I've come to the conclusion I don't really care if it does well or if anyone even watches it or anything like that. I kind of just want to talk about stuff. I don't know how often these sorts of videos come out, and unlike today, they probably won't be the only video that I release when I do post them. But yeah, let's go ahead and start talking about some stuff. And I think I'll just call this tea and talk, because my plan for these videos is essentially to make myself a cup of tea. I've got right here. And just sort of talk about stuff, right? While I enjoy my tea. You know, I'll have some gameplay of some kind rolling in the background. Probably Genshin for today, because that's also related to our topic today, Diablo Immortal. Or at least I'm relating it to our topic today, Diablo Immortal. Because I am a Genshin Impact player, and I've been following Diablo Immortal. And if you know anything about Diablo Immortal, you'll know it's an incredibly predatory and pay-to-win game. And it's got a lot of gacha type features, right? Where it's been compared to gacha games a lot. And I think it's a pretty fair comparison. I really do. Man, I gotta say, compared to Genshin Impact, Diablo Immortal is just so incredible. Even compared to Genshin Impact, Diablo Immortal is so incredibly predatory and expensive, right? Because like Genshin Impact, right, is a very expensive game if you want to spend money. It can cost upwards of, I think, $200 to $300 guarantee one copy of a character. One copy of a character to guarantee them, right? Be very, very expensive to guarantee a 5-star character in Genshin. However, you can actually pretty reliably, every few banners or so, get yourself a 5-star character. Now there's a 50-50 thing where essentially every other character you get is guaranteed to be the character banner, like the own character banner. So every other character you're guaranteed to get what you want, right? Otherwise it's a 50-50. But every other banner, pretty much, you're guaranteed a 5-star character if you're doing the events and you're doing your dailies and your stuff like that. You compare that to Diablo Immortal, where I don't think you're ever guaranteed to get a 5-star gem as a free-to-play player, right? Or whatever the 5-star equivalent, right? Whatever the highest rarity of gem is. I don't think you're ever guaranteed to get one. Maybe you are. I'm not sure. I assume there's got to be some sort of soft pity system to the system, right? There's got to be. But you compare that to Genshin Impact, where and the other thing is Diablo Immortal is a game where there is like competitive PvP, right? Like there is actual competition. There's like PvE leaderboards, there's PvP, and unlike a game like Genshin where there's none of this, it's so much more egregious for these sort of gacha mechanics to exist in the game, right? And I sort of thinking, just how ridiculous it is, the price of things in Diablo Immortal, and it's like, man, I sure am glad I'm just a Genshin player. Right? I'm just a Genshin player. At least for me, I can spend pretty much no money on the game and still get most of the characters I want, right? Maybe not right away, but eventually they'll come back and I'll be able to get them. Like, for example, I wasn't able to get Yelan, which I'm pretty sad about. I really wanted Yelan, but I didn't get her, so but I'll try to get her when she comes back next. But it is what it is, right? It's a gacha game. I'm not a spender, really. I've spent some money on the game, but not very much. But unlike Diablo Immortal, you can pretty reasonably be a free-to-play player in Genshin Impact. And the only sort of like really in-game activity where spending money is going to have a big impact on your gameplay is going to be the Spiral Abyss. But even then, as a free-to-play player, as long as you're picking the banners you spend on well, and you've got a couple of the best characters in the game, you've got good builds for them, and you've got good teams, you can clear the Spiral Abyss as a free-to-play player pretty easily. And that's sort of like the highest tier of content in the game, right? There really isn't anything else. And you compare that to Diablo Immortal, where my understanding is basically if you want to reach the peak of PvP in that game, you have to spend money, because there's essentially just like a point where you're just facing too many wells to advance any further in the PvP ladder, right? And I've unironically seen people, or I've seen people try to unironically justify that as it being okay, because, well, you know, after you get to a certain point in the PvP ladder, you're not going to see any more free-to-play players, and it's like, so you're admitting that you have to spend money. So money is skill, essentially, in Diablo Immortal, right? Is the argument that money is skill in Diablo Immortal. And this is such just a hilarious argument. And it's like, this is how they justify it not being a pay-to-win game, right? It's like, it's not pay-to-win because it's pay-to-win is literally their argument, which is hilarious, right? It's hilarious. But another thing, what really gets me especially is that Diablo Immortal is as egregious as it is, despite not being a very good base game. So, and you know, some people might be hearing, oh, I've heard it's a great game if you ignore all the pay win. No. If you actually look at Diablo Immortal and look at what you get in terms of gameplay, it's a pretty bad game. It's essentially just rifts. There's very few bosses, and there's very little different activities of stuff you can do, right? It's basically just running the same reused, for the most part, tile sets from Diablo 3. Just doing that over and over and over, just trying to get better gear. And there isn't exactly much in the way of boss mechanics in Diablo Immortal either, right? And it's like, oh, some people are like, oh, it's a mobile game. It's not that, you know, it can't be that complicated. And it's like, but you take a game like Genshin Impact, for example, you know, which is currently playing in the background. Even the Genshin Impact is a mobile game, right? It doesn't seem like it, considering the sheer quality of the game. But there are bosses with their own mechanics. You know, all the bosses pretty much have their own mechanics and are unique in some way and are like actual proper boss fights. You compare that to Diablo Immortal, and that doesn't really exist as such, right? And to be fair to you, none of the bosses in Genshin Impact are incredibly, you know, complex or anything, but they all have mechanics, and they all require some level of player interaction, right? You can't just sort of brain dead sit there and smack the boss and win, right? I mean, I guess maybe if you spend enough money you can, but but there is some like actual aspects of skill in Genshin Impact, right? And just like actual good design bosses is my point, right? It's like people try to excuse the lazy design of Diablo Immortal with it being a mobile game, but things like Genshin Impact exist. There are good mobile games. There are good games that also work on that play on mobile. So the excuse of, oh, it's a mobile game, it can't be that complicated, is also just incredibly nonsensical. I don't know, man. I kind of hope we don't continue seeing more stuff like this. I hope they don't make back the money they spend on Diablo Immortal. I really do. I suspect they probably already have, or they are very rapidly approaching making their money back. But the only way we're going to stop seeing stuff like this is if we stop giving developers money when they make games like this. And you know, again, I'm guilty of spending a little money on Genshin Impact. You know, I bought some battle passes, I bought the Welcome Moon a few times, but I haven't spent a ton of money, especially on like gambling for characters, right? I haven't spent very much money at all in terms of like primo gems, right? Which is the premium currency for wishing for characters, for gambling. I don't know, man. It's pretty sad to see, but I guess it is what it is. If people stop giving them money to do it, they'll stop making it, but I don't see that happening anytime soon, considering I believe mobile games make up the majority of the market share of games right now. Right? Pretty sure they do. But, yeah, I think I've sort of talked about everything I wanted to talk about. I kind of just went over. This is just a rambling rant video. That's gonna be it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know how you think of it. You know, you playing Diablo Immortal? You enjoying it? Hate to win a bit much for you. You like Genshin? But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. I'll catch you guys in the next, which will be more of my standard content. Until then, take it easy and have a good one, everybody.